For more than 5 decades, Barry Manilow has existed in collective consciousness, not as a mortal man, but as something approaching mythology, a voice soundtracking first kisses and wedding receptions, road trips and heartbreaks, a constant presence in American life so ubiquitous that millions can sing every word to songs they claim never to have consciously chosen. He was the man who wrote the songs that made the whole world sing. The crooner whose elaborately orchestrated romantic ballads were dismissed as schmaltzy while becoming the emotional wallpaper of countless lives. And now, at 82, after 11 weeks of what everyone thought was just bronchitis, Barry Manilow has reminded us that even legends are made of flesh that can betray them, that cancer does uncare how many platinum albums UVA sold, or how many generations fell asleep to your voice on their parents' stereos. The diagnosis landed like a bomb, a cancerous spot on his left lung, discovered almost accidentally when his doctor ordered an MRI following those persistent bronchitis weeks. But for anyone who grew up with Manilow's music soundtracking family dinners, for anyone whose parents slow danced to his songs at their wedding, for anyone associating Weekend in New England with specific frozen-in-time moments. The news triggers something deeper than celebrity health concern. It activates primal fear about time's passage, about the impermanence of things we thought eternal, about what it means when the voice that narrated your childhood suddenly reminds you nothing lasts forever. Manilow has always occupied peculiar space in American culture, simultaneously omnipresent yet somehow invisible. An artist whose songs everyone knows but whose personhood remained curiously abstract, existing more as memorable melodies than as a human being with fears and frailties and the same biological expiration date awaiting us all. Born Barry Allen Pincus in Brooklyn in 1943, abandoned by his father at 2, raised in low-income Williamsburg by his mother and grandparents, Manilow's journey from poverty to becoming one of best-selling artists reads like particularly American fairy tale. He started piano and accordion at 7, worked through prestigious Juilliard by taking jobs in CBS mailroom, supported himself writing advertising jingles for McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Dr. Pepper, those earworms, burrowing into America's consciousness before he became famous. His big break came when Bette Midler discovered him in 1971, and by 1974, when Mandy hit #1, Barry Manilow had transformed into a phenomenon. A heartthrob whose concerts featured massive orchestras and theatrical staging, making every performance feel like an event. Through the rest of the 1970s and into early 1980s, he was inescapable. 13 #1 singles, 51 top 40 hits, over 85 million albums sold worldwide, Grammy Awards, Emmy Awards, Tony Awards, sold-out tours and television specials, drawing tens of millions, a ubiquity that made his name shorthand for sweeping, unabashedly, emotional pop music, appealing primarily to women, and endlessly mocked by rock critics, personally offended by his sincerity. But mockery never stopped music from working into people's lives at moments that mattered most. Copacabana became the song everyone knows at karaoke nights. Can't Smile Without You soundtracked romantic moments and painful breakups. I Write the Songs became an anthem about music's power. Though Manilow didn't actually write it, a delicious irony, making the song more poignant. These weren't just hits. They were cultural artifacts, marking time, helping people process emotions, providing soundtrack for life's significant transitions. For baby boomers, Manilow represents their youth, first romance experiences, music their parents approved of. For Gen X, he's childhood background music, albums parents played during road trips, nostalgic comfort. For millennials and Gen Z, he's become both earnest and ironic. A figure whose sincerity feels refreshing in cynical times, whose orchestrated ballads offer escape from stripped-down minimalism dominating contemporary pop. Through decades of crushing fame, Manilow remained intensely private, maintaining carefully constructed public persona revealing almost nothing. It wasn't until 2017, at 73, that Manilow publicly acknowledged his 39-year relationship with manager Gary Keefe, whom he'd quietly married in 2014 at their Palm Springs estate. The revelation met not with feared disappointment, but with outpouring of support, moving him to tears. The man who'd spent his career singing about love finally allowed the world to see his own. And the response reminded everyone that Manilow's appeal was never about being fantasy, boyfriend, but about authentic emotion he channeled through music, his ability articulating feelings people struggled expressing themselves. Now, facing surgery and month-long recovery before returning to stage, Manilow confronts the reality that his body, the instrument allowing him to perform over 637 shows at Las Vegas' International Theatre, breaking Elvis's record, may not be the invincible machine he's treated it as for 8 decades. His tour manager recently said Manilow would perform until he physically couldn't walk onto stage. That he'd declared if he couldn't do it right, he wouldn't do it at all. But what happens when doing it right becomes physiologically impossible? When the voice, remaining remarkably powerful even in his 80s, starts faltering, when stamina required for 2-hour shows proves too demanding for a body recovering from cancer surgery. The farewell tour he announced in June, billing these arena concerts as the last concerts in each market, took different resonance when he joked to Billboard about his peers. It's Billy Joel and Elton is not well, and Rod and Neil. Diana Ross is still in great shape. I think that was June. 6 months before a routine MRI revealed the cancerous spot that could have ended everything. The contrast between Manilow's larger-than-life stage presence and this sudden reminder of human fragility creates cognitive dissonance fans struggle processing. This is the man performing longer than many audience members have been alive, who became a Vegas institution with lifetime residency contract, who just finished 5 charity Christmas concerts, raising millions. The idea he could be vulnerable, scared, facing the same terrifying diagnosis, claiming ordinary people daily at forces, reckoning that voices we rely on to make sense of our emotions face the same fears and uncertainties we do. When Manilow writes, he's counting the days until Valentine's weekend return to stage. When he jokes about recovery, watching I Love Lucy and eating chicken soup, the levity can't mask what he's facing. The knowledge that cancer surgery at 82 carries risks no platinum albums can mitigate. For millions who grew up with his music, for whom his songs are embedded as deeply as nursery rhymes, Manilow's diagnosis feels personal in ways celebrity health news typically doesn't. He's the soundtrack to their memories, the voice at their wedding or parents' funeral, or that road trip when everything seemed possible. When that voice goes silent, even temporarily, reminds us the markers measuring our lives are just as mortal, that the man who sang about making it through the rain faces his own storm, and all we can do is wait and hope when February arrives, when he walks back onto Westgate stage for his promised one big party. The vulnerability he's shown hasn't diminished the legend, but made it more human, more precious, more worth celebrating while we still can.